You are about to walk into the room. The interview, the big meeting, the first day, the stage. And a quiet voice in your head is absolutely certain of one thing. Today is the day they find out. Find out that you do not really belong here. That the grades, the promotion, the praise, all of it was some mix of luck and good timing and people being too polite to notice you are faking it. Everyone else in that room earned their seat. You slipped in, and any moment now, someone is going to realize the mistake. If that voice sounds familiar, I need you to hear the first important thing. That feeling is not humility, and it is not a character flaw. It has a name, it follows predictable rules, and by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why the most capable people feel it the most, and how to switch it off. Psychologists gave it a name back in 1978. Two researchers, Pauline Clance and Suzanne Imes, kept meeting a strange kind of patient. Brilliant, accomplished women, top of their fields, who were privately convinced they had fooled everyone. They had the degrees and the awards to prove their ability, and none of it landed. Each success felt like a con they had somehow pulled off, and each new challenge felt like the moment the con would finally collapse. Clance and Imes called it the impostor phenomenon, and here is the part that should make you feel less alone. It turned out to be everywhere. Later research suggests that around 70% of people feel it at some point in their lives. 7 in 10. The confident-looking colleague, the professor, the surgeon, the person whose life you quietly envy. Odds are a version of that same voice whispers to them too. It reaches the top. The writer Maya Angelou, after publishing 11 books and collecting a shelf of honors, reportedly still worried that each new book would be the one where readers finally saw through her, where they realized she had run a game on everybody. Think about that. One of the most celebrated authors of her century, waiting to be exposed. If accomplishment cured this feeling, she would have been immune. She was not, because accomplishment is not the cure. In fact, accomplishment often makes it worse. That is the cruel twist at the center of imposter syndrome, and it is the opposite of what you would expect. You would think the more skilled you become, the more secure you would feel. The reverse tends to be true. There is a well-known pattern in psychology where the people who are genuinely bad at something are wildly overconfident because they do not know enough to see their own mistakes. Flip that around. When you become genuinely good at something, you finally know enough to see everything you still cannot do. Every gap, every expert who knows more, every question you cannot yet answer. Competence hands you a clearer map of your own ignorance. So the beginner struts and the expert doubts, and the doubt feels like proof of being a fraud when it is actually evidence of growing skill. It gets sharper in exactly the situations that should feel like wins. A promotion, a harder course, the first time you are the youngest person in the meeting, or the only one who looks like you, or the new hire surrounded by veterans. Every one of those is a moment where the ground is unfamiliar and the stakes are high. And unfamiliar plus high stakes is the precise recipe that wakes the imposter voice up. The situations that trigger it worst are not the ones where you are failing. They are the ones where you are climbing. So why does the feeling stick so stubbornly, even when the evidence screams that you are competent? Because of a quiet trick your mind plays with cause and effect. Psychologists describe it as a kind of scorekeeping error. When something goes well, the imposter mind reaches past the obvious explanation, your effort, your skill, and hands the credit to something outside you. It was luck. The bar was low. The others helped. They liked me, so they went easy. But when something goes badly, the same mind does the exact reverse and takes it personally. That one is on me. That proves what I really am. Success is always an accident. Failure is always the truth. Run that accounting long enough, and it does not matter how much you achieve, because none of the wins are allowed onto your side of the ledger. You are keeping books that can only ever show a loss. That accounting also traps you in an exhausting loop. Convinced you are one slip from exposure, you have two ways to cope, and both backfire. The first is to over-prepare, to work twice as hard as anyone else, to triple-check everything, because surely enough effort will keep the mask from slipping. It works, you succeed, and then the imposter voice simply says, "See, you only pulled it off because you killed yourself doing it. A real natural would not have needed all that." The second way is the opposite, to procrastinate and hold back, so that if it goes wrong, you can tell yourself you never really tried. Both roads lead to the same place. Whatever happens, the belief survives, because you have quietly rigged the outcome so it can never be evidence that you are actually good. Now for the reframe that finally breaks it, and it starts with one clarifying fact. Feeling like an imposter is not a diagnosis. It is not a disorder or a disease. It is a common, almost universal glitch in self-perception, which means it is not telling you the truth about your abilities. It is telling you about your feelings. And once you separate those two things, you can start to answer the feeling with evidence instead of surrender. The single most powerful move is almost embarrassingly simple. Talk about it. Imposter feelings survive on secrecy, on the assumption that you are the only fraud in a room full of the genuinely capable. The moment you say it out loud to a mentor or a friend, you usually discover that the person you were sure had it all figured out feels exactly the same way. The spell depends on you believing you are alone in it, and you are not. 70%, remember. The second move is to fix the scorekeeping on purpose. When something goes well, force yourself to name your part in it before your mind can outsource the credit. Not "I got lucky," but "I prepared and it paid off." Keep the actual evidence somewhere you can see it, the wins, the thank yous, the things you built, so that when the voice claims you have fooled everyone, you have a record that says otherwise. And the last move is the gentlest. Understand that the doubt will probably never vanish completely, and it does not have to. The most accomplished people you know still hear that voice. The difference is they have stopped treating it as a verdict. They feel the fear of being found out, and they walk into the room anyway, because they have learned that the feeling of being a fraud and the fact of being one are two completely different things. You are allowed to feel like an imposter and be the real thing at the same time. That is why you do what you do. This is Mindling.